I've often heard it said that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And the same goes for your business if you don't have a contract in place before you render those services. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. The majority of this video, I'm going to be speaking from our perspective in running our company, Cinema Jubilee. When I say our, I'm talking about myself and Daniela. And I'm just going to relate to you horror stories when it came to not having a contract in place. In so doing, you can avoid stress and unpleasant experiences. Now, as creative business owners, it's very easy to always want to be creating. The thing is, if you fail to run your business properly, you're kind of setting yourself up for a lot of headaches and in some cases, massive failure. You certainly don't want to be dealing with a crazy lawsuit that you could have avoided just by making sure that everyone understood and had signed some terms and conditions. The reality is when you're first starting out, it's very common to offer your services at a discount or completely free. And for us, we did that. Off the top of my head, we offered a handful of free or pro bono video services. For the most part, things went well, but that was only once we had had the bad experiences of doing free work with no contract in place. Let me take you back a bit. So in February of 2017, Daniela and myself moved down to Georgia. We had been living in Boston. That's where we started Cinema Jubilee. And at that point, Cinema Jubilee was only like a month old. We wanted to connect with people. We wanted to get our name out there and we wanted to prove our worth. Although we produce a lot of wedding videos, we also are very passionate about our commercial videography, helping other business owners scale their business through the power of strategic video. The thing is, we hadn't gotten our feet wet yet in the commercial side of things so much. So we decided, why don't we work within our wedding niche, because there's so many amazing vendors down here in the Atlanta area, and help them with some promotional and brand videos. Right around June or July of the summer of 2017, we decided that we were going to offer pro bono videos, brand videos, promo videos. And the way we would do it is we would have a giveaway where if you commented on this post in this local Facebook group, you would be entered to be randomly selected to receive a free brand or promo video. We thought we had it all planned out well. We felt like, why would we send out a contract? To be honest with you, I don't even think the thought occurred to either of us that, hey, we should have them sign a pro bono agreement. So the first promo video we did was for a local wedding planner, and she was amazing. She was so good on camera. She was so easy to work with, so enthusiastic. She really deferred to us completely throughout the pre-production, production, and post-production process. When we released the video to her, she was so grateful, and it felt great. We knew we had made an impact for her. The video got over 1,000 organic views and no contract had been used. And since nothing went wrong, why would we ever think that something could go wrong? Next up is the lead singer of a local wedding band. I was spending half hour, 45 minutes on the phone 3, 4, 5 times in the months prior to actually filming their video. That's a lot of time that we donated just on pre-production. I think the problem was we didn't set any expectations. Case in point, if there had been a pro bono contract that spelled out exactly what those expectations were on both sides of the equation, I probably would not have had to do all those phone consultations. The big thing is when we arrived on set to film this band, we started talking to the other band members and they had questions for us, like how much do we typically charge for something like this? I think they were just curious. Now, why were they curious? The only thing that we could deduce was that the lead singer did not make it clear to them that we were donating our services for this production. So that made it awkward. I mean, imagine that you're these band members. I think there were 4 or 5 people on that stage. You're there on a Sunday and you're performing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 songs for what's supposed to be a 2-minute video, and you have no idea that this whole arrangement is free. It ended up being a 4-minute video, so we over-delivered on the video. Now, not only that, the 2-hour shoot ended up being a 6-hour shoot. It was just like anarchy, and it was honestly, it's embarrassing to even talk about this. So between all these outfit changes and hair and makeup adjustments and chatting with the other confused band members, people brought food. There may have even been alcoholic drinks. So everyone is just kind of like, what's going on here? Long story short, without that contract, and as I've already said, there was no way to rein people in. There was no way to stop their anarchy. As you've heard, the 2-minute video became a 4-minute video. And during this time in post-production, I invested about 40 hours into the editing. When we edit anything, we're not ones to just spend a few hours on it. We really care about every frame of our creations. So we pour our souls into it. So you're looking at an entire work week just on the editing for this pre-video, not to mention the 6-hour production day, not to mention the hours of phone consultation leading up to it. But here's the kicker. We released the video and the lead singer loved it. It blew up on Facebook, had over 2,000 organic views, dozens and dozens of positive comments and reactions. That validation is everything when you're creating a product for somebody. What goes up must come down. So the next morning, I received a phone call from the lead singer. One of the other band members had been listening to the video and the audio quality was horrible. The way the band sounded and was performing wasn't good because it wasn't mixed to the room. It was all stuff that was, when you look at it, very subjective, and it was a complete contradiction of very positive reaction, literally 24 hours prior. So you can imagine our confusion. To steal a term from Stranger Things, this has gone into the other side, right? It escalated pretty fast. Nowhere did we verbally tell you that we would give you re-edits completely for free, claiming that we're doing bait and switch, and it's like, well, there's no contract to fall back on here. There's no language, there's no terms and conditions that say if the client requests re-edits, it's up to the company's sole discretion whether or not those re-edits are subjective or objective. Now these, in our opinion, were subjective, and we could no longer continue working on this one project. The lead singer had not heard a no at any point. We couldn't fall back on anything. It became a game of he said, she said. And when you're in the he said, she said territory, you're just asking for trouble. Besides all the unnecessary stress of having to deal with lawsuit threats and sending message after message like at any times of the day, this was a major blow to our confidence. Very early on in our business, we should have been tougher, but the reality is we thought we had done a good job, and we did do a good job. There were people, there were comments, there were views to corroborate that. What happens when money is exchanged? Are we gonna have to go through something even worse because money's involved? All the negative thoughts that you could think of, we were thinking of. From that moment forward, we knew we would never press record unless there was a solid legal contract in place. So the next case study occurred about 9 months after the fact. Two brothers hired us on a commercial gig for a traveling convention that was now in Atlanta. And these brothers, they needed a promo video where they had a recap. They wanted to make sure that we captured that ribbon cutting. They also wanted us to interview about a dozen subjects, other vendors, you know, basically to get their testimonials, in addition to B-roll and drone footage, just to make it really feel like it was this epic event. Totally up our alley. No spoiler alerts here, just the good news you need to know now. We did have a contract in place and we did get paid, but stick around for what's about to happen. Let me backtrack a bit. So when the inquiry came in, it actually came through Wedding Wire, of all places. That in itself should have been a red flag. You're asking us to do a commercial gig. You found us on Wedding Wire, which is for couples who want to hire wedding vendors. And you want us to film this thing, and you're completely okay with that. After the inquiry came in, I remember it was around 8 in the morning. I called the brother within 5 minutes. I'm like, hey, just got your inquiry. Love to talk to you. Tell me more about what it is that you got going on. Starts to tell me exactly what they need. I was like, okay, sounds good. And then he asked for a price. I said, this is what it's gonna cost you. So he negotiated me down. That in itself, that's a separate video, negotiation and not budging an inch on what you quote people, especially for video. Video is not easy. If you just want a technician, go find somebody else. We're not just technicians. But at the time, that's all we knew. You know, we didn't know the distinction between high quality production for marketing and video strategy, videos with a purpose rather than just anyone showing up and filming. We get the job booked. He pays us within a half hour of this phone call. He signs the contract within a half hour of this phone call. So we're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is one of the easiest bookings we've ever had. This all happened within 4 or 5 days of the event itself. So the day arrives and we show up and we film and we crush it. It wasn't an easy day, but the thing about wedding filmmaking is it really prepares you for anything. Wedding filmmaking is so grueling that it kind of felt like it was a breeze. Loading up our wagon to leave, we're making sure we got all our tripods, all our light stands, all our batteries, all our sandbags, this, that, and the other thing. We're literally about to walk out of the convention center. The older brother comes over and he's like, hey, so thank you for helping us. Now I can't wait to see that raw footage. We look at each other like, oh, raw footage. Yeah, I mean, if you want the raw footage, it's going to be an additional fee. The reason I'm quiet is because that's how he was. He was quiet and he's just staring at me. All of a sudden his energy shifted and he's all tense and angry. And his eyes, you ever notice when someone's eyes go, they dart back and forth like this, but they're still staring at you. I can't even do it. I don't know how he got into that zone, but he got into that zone. This guy's clearly trying to intimidate me, but I did not buckle, I did not budge, And I just reiterated, if you want the raw, you're gonna have to pay extra for it as per your contract. It's very clear in your contract that any raw footage is an additional fee. So when I reiterated where we were coming from, that he would have to pay for the raw if he really wanted it, he literally started shouting at me, swearing at me in front of witnesses. It really was like so strange to have a grown man behaving this way and shouting at us and treating us like this in front of other people out in public. I mean, even if he did this in private, it truly was mind-boggling. And then he started to say, well, I could get you all these connections. I know all these CEOs. I know all these decision makers. You would never dream of meeting them without me. If we had $1 for every time someone promised us connections, we would be millionaires. Long story short, just so he could have his way with us, he handed us a hard drive. We walked out of there. We didn't commit to anything. We come home and we decide we're gonna send them an invoice. If they want the raw footage, they've got to pay for it. You know, that's part of our terms and conditions. That's how we run our business. We have a right to decide what we sell and what we don't sell, and at what cost. We email that invoice over, and we didn't hear anything. It was around dinner time that we sent out that invoice. We thought it strange that there was no response. But we said, you know what, maybe they don't want it. If they don't want it, we're just gonna return the hard drive. They're still in town tomorrow. We'll bring it back to them, not a problem. So we wake up and it's Sunday. I'm getting ready for church. We'll drop off the hard drive, then we'll go to church. All of a sudden I get a phone call from the brother who originally booked us. And he goes, what's this crap? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, why'd you send this invoice? And I'm like, listen, I sent the invoice because you gotta pay for the raw. I explained that to you. And it's in your contract as well. Oh, he did not like that. He's like, well, let me talk to my brother. So within 30 seconds, the older brother calls me and he's like, what's this invoice about? I had to explain it to him again. You got to pay for it. He just was silent on the other end. He had really had it. He goes, okay, if you want to charge us for the raw footage, we got to call the police. You have our property. So he alleged that we stole his property and that he was going to call the police. So we hop in the car, we start driving back to give them their hard drive. I mean, we were planning on giving back the hard drive anyway. So we had to stop for gas. I'm on E. As I'm pumping the gas, I get an email from a lawyer in Florida, New York, I don't know which state. And she's saying the same thing, that you need to return the hard drive and it better have the raw footage on it or we're gonna sue you. He called his lawyer on a Sunday and he's like, can you send them a letter via email and telling them that we're gonna sue them? Imagine. We might be young, we might be inexperienced, but we're not stupid. You never know when someone's gonna make false accusations against you. You always gotta protect yourself. So this is what I did. I took a lav mic just like I'm wearing right here and with the same audio recorder. In fact, it was this blue one. I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna show you. It was this blue one right here, this Zoom H1. Okay? So I'm wearing this Zoom H1 with this Rode Smart Lav Plus. I hide the microphone because I want this on record. I want this on video and audio. I want it all. You know, if you're gonna pull out the big guns, we're gonna pull out the big guns. Here we go. And tell Daniela, look, we're gonna walk in there, I'm gonna hand them the hard drive, you're gonna film the whole thing. Let's get this on tape. So we walk up to them and they weren't even in the convention center. They were standing in the hallway. They're waiting there and their arms are crossed, both of them. They've got this look on their face, so unhappy. So mad. So I'm like, here's your hard drive. We'll deliver your video within 2 to 4 weeks as per your contract that you signed. Oh, come back here, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, nope, check your contract. We start walking away. They're shouting at us as we're walking out. You won't make it far as videographers. We didn't even honor that with a response. We just walked out of the building. Even though we kept saying, check your contract, check your contract, check your contract, we didn't know if our contract was up to snuff. We had never had that version of our contract actually reviewed by a contract lawyer. We think we're protected, but we don't know for certain. You've got your signature on that, you've got the client's signature on that. You don't even understand your own terms and conditions. You don't even know if they're sufficient enough. We really thought we were gonna get a call from his lawyer, we thought we were gonna get subpoenaed. I don't even know all the legal terms for the things that we thought were going to happen to us. But thank God we had the contract, because somehow, and I really do thank God, I thank God up above, He's the one who protected us. The contract protected us, but He protected us. And the brothers backed off, and again, thank God for that. We even have the emails from the brother who booked us that said, I'm sorry on my brother's behalf. He has a temper. We still want the raw footage, by the way. Is there anything we can do to work it out? Or like, the only thing you can do to work it out is pay us, and you have the invoice in your email when you're ready to pay it. It's good for 2 years. We save all footage for 2 years. And that's in our contract, by the way. When we capture any event, we save the footage for up to 2 years because we want them to have the option within that 2-year period to purchase the raw. The thing about raw footage is your intellectual property. If you're a filmmaker or a photographer or a graphic designer, do not for 1 second think that your clients are entitled for the raw footage. Now, whether or not you decide to charge them for it is completely up to you. My point is, it has an inherent value. It can be edited in any way, shape, or form. And so you should be compensated fairly for that. And that's up to you to determine. So I just want to put that in there as well. Now, we could have avoided all of this drama, really, all these theatrics, if we had just walked away. As soon as he started demanding the raw footage, we could have said to him, check your contract, which is lawyer reviewed, by the way. Our contract is bulletproof, baby. Check your bulletproof contract, mister. You gonna come at us like that? Check your bulletproof contract. And we could have walked away. That would have been the professional thing to do, actually, was to just walk away, deal with him in writing only. Hindsight's 20/20. There would have been no theatrics is the point. What I'm gonna recommend to you today is that you go ahead and you check the links below to the contract shop. They do have templates for videographers. They have templates for photographers. I believe they have templates for graphic designers. They've got a whole bunch of different categories of contracts. The reason we love the contract shop is because it was started by a lawyer herself. So yes, the contract shop is where we recommend you go. If you do decide to click that link and make a purchase, it is an affiliate thing. We will make a little bit of money. Really recommend that whether or not you go with the templates at the contract shop or not, that you do your best to get a lawyer reviewed contract. You can certainly scavenge people's contracts online. You know, maybe in some Facebook forums you see some free feedback from your peers. The thing about that is you can never be certain if it really is bulletproof. So the contract shop, especially with this sale, really is appealing, I think, and you can just have that peace of mind. I mean, can you really put a price on that? Just remember, you're only one nightmare away. Not to mention all the time you're gonna save yourself. Think about all the time that you would have back to just enjoy with your family. The time not spent on the nightmare, on dealing with the nightmares of, oh my God, I didn't have a contract, or I did have a contract, and this guy yelled at me and he threatened me, and now his lawyer from Florida or New York is sending me these threatening emails. Just imagine that peace of mind, what you could do with that time. So if you're a creative, we really recommend going to the contract shop now, links below. I'd love to know, do you have any contract fail stories that you'd like to share? Feel free to sound off below, and even if you don't, I'd love to hear you say contracts matter in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Be sure you subscribe and click that bell as well so you get notified when we upload a new video. Until next time, everybody, make sure you're doing business smarter, not harder.
Take this crap off me!